Hi, my name is Helen, and I have written a book, and I want to tell you about my story. And my story really begins when I was a little girl. I was the youngest of 8 in a Hispanic and Italian family, and I lived in Wisconsin. And my mother passed away when I was 2 years old, and our father left us, which left my oldest sibling, who's 20 years older than me, taking care of the majority of us. And that really is what took my world on a derailing. My sister had brought on her boyfriend into our house, who she was living with out of wedlock. And he was the one who pretty much just started me down a downhill. I had been molested by him multiple times. That led on to a boyfriend when I was probably around five years old. I think this started. A neighbor boy molested me. I had one of our family close friends, we're going to call him. I'm going to say he's a lawyer because that's what he was. And then I also had 2 siblings that actually molested me. Probably from the time I'm 5, from what I remember, till about 11 that this took place. I don't remember having any unnatural or normal thoughts of anything until that time. And it really changed my whole life. So then we were on the farm, and I've seen many, many things a 10-year-old should never see, 11-year-old. So that really derailed my thoughts in men or boys. So even the neighborhood boys, I was the only girl playing cowboys and Indians. I was the one catching snakes, chasing the boys. That's how I learned to survive. That's how I learned to cope with the nastiness that happened to me. Because I didn't have a mother and I didn't have a father, I grew up with my sister and my siblings. It really became a real dog eat dog kind of thing. I felt like I had to fight for everything that I've ever gotten in my life as a child. So moving on, I moved into grade school, and I had a best friend, very attractive person to me, and I never pursued anything. I kept it to myself. But yes, I was very attracted to her. Chrissy McNichol was like, ooh, off the charts for me. But again, I never confronted any of that in myself. And as time goes on, I ended up in high school. Our French teacher passed away, and we had a lady fresh out of college. She was only 7 years older than me. I was a sophomore. I just started dabbling into alcohol, and I would get drunk before I'd get on the bus, or start drinking before I got on the bus. And in high school, I started buying marijuana and speeders. And this teacher was her, and I was drawn to her, and I think it's because I saw something in her I didn't see in anybody else. It was a peace. It was a tranquility. It was God. She introduced me to God. I grew up Catholic, but there was no real commitment or intimacy between me and God. I believed he existed, but I didn't, per se, I wasn't living for him. I just thought, God's cool, and that was it. I wanted about my life. But when I knew her and she bought me my first Bible and I started reading, I started to see in a different light. From high school, I went to a Bible college in Waukesha, Wisconsin. And I was there for 2 years, and man, what a different world it opened up to me to know that all this that I had gone through, all this pain, all this loneliness, all this turmoil, all this ugliness, abandonment that I felt, the rejection from every one of my family members, and then holding all of these secrets inside myself for years. and going through all of that. And then actually, I'm going to step back just a little bit. I was on the verge of committing suicide at 16. I had a razor blade up to my wrist. I had it in the vein, and I knew how to do it. And I struggled with a good side and a bad side. And I know the good sides was God, but I didn't know him very well. That night, it could have been all over. I know there wouldn't have been a second chance. I knew that if I was going to go through with it, I was going to make sure it was completed. But I thank God that I listened to the good side and not the bad side, and that I realized, and what he did for me, he said, I want you to just think for 1 second, who's going to find you? And it stopped me in mid-action, and I was on my floor, Indian style, wailing. Nobody really wants to die, but the pain that I endured for so long was so heavy, and I just wanted a release. The drugs were not good enough. The just anything that came across, it's like I just had no hope. I had no peace. I had no way out, and all I saw was this one way to get out of this and be done with it, and the pain would end. This is, I believe, why we get into drugs and all these addictions and go in a way that God just doesn't intend us to go. So that night, I said to God, I don't even know if you're real. I don't know if you actually exist. I mean, my friend's telling me, she gave me a Bible and everything, but really, are you really there? Because I hate to say this, but I really need you to prove yourself to me. And it was actually 2 months later. I was 16. I'm a redneck, so I'm from Wisconsin, and I was hunting, and I got lost in the woods that night. And briefly, I'm just going to tell you what happened. I got lost in the woods, and it was dark out, and I found a clearing, and I got to the top of this clearing. It was a whole circular clearing of trees, and I dropped down to my knees. I put the gun butt of the shotgun into the ground. I put my head down, and I just wailed, and I prayed, and I said, my God, if you are here, if you are real, if you are alive, I know there's bears out here. I know there's things that can, take me out. And 2 months prior, I'm wanting to commit suicide, and here I am fighting for everything in me to get out. And I bowed my head and I prayed, and when I looked up, there was the sun. And God knew that I knew that where the sun set, the road crossed in front of our house. And it was an unbelievable sight, because I know when I put my head down, that sun was not there. And when I rose it up, it was. And again, he knew I knew how to get home. And to me, it was him telling me, follow the sun to get home. And that was the beginning of me turning my life over towards the Lord and following him. And I'm going to tell you, I have never been happier in my life. What a decision to make. So I find my way back to my house, and my entire family is sitting inside like nothing ever happened, when I just went through the most dramatic and scariest thing of my life. And again, I'm feeling the abandonment and the the feeling of worthlessness, really. Like there was no value. So at this point, I realized God is real, and he did show himself to me. So my life moves on into high school, and I end up throwing away my drugs, and I end up trying to change my life. Out of high school, I went to Bible school for 2 years, and I really concentrated on God and on who he is, and learning about him and wanting to get closer to him. And I was there 2 years, and when I got out, I said I was only going to take off 1 year, and I'm going to tell you what, I just fell like to the ground again, because that concentrated godliness wasn't there. I couldn't hold myself up, and I walked into a world that was full of anything I could do, anything I wanted. And started going to the clubs, started hanging out, finding friends that were parties, people, and I ended up finding what my future husband, and I got married, I got pregnant. I was pregnant before I got married. This whole cycle, this whole whirlwind of time just flashing by me. And then all of a sudden I'm pregnant, and my pregnancy, it wasn't welcoming to me. I'm not one of the people I felt at the time that was really wanting to be pregnant, but I didn't like being pregnant at all. It felt like alien. Honest to God, it felt like an alien was in me, even though I know it's not. But I don't know what causes that feeling. If I were to get pregnant now, I don't think I'd feel that way. But back then, whatever was causing this was there and alive and well. My marriage to my husband was absolutely torturous for me, because I honestly believe I could not believe he loved me. And I remember him bringing me a dozen roses, and I looked right at him, looked right in his eyes, and I said, "You can't buy me." I don't know who says that. That is probably one of the most cruelest things I've ever heard, but that is exactly what happened. And I didn't get it back then. I thought it was a normal, but today I look back and I'm like, man, I was really messed up. I was really, really messed up. So our marriage, I started seeing counseling because our marriage was so rocky, and I just wanted out. And my counselor kept saying, "You keep saying the word trapped." And boy, did I feel trapped. I now have a child, and I have a person that I can't accept loves me. And I'm trying to just breathe. I'm just trying to just understand how I got here. And it was a wreck. We end up moving from Wisconsin to Florida. And after a year there, we bought a house. And I remember being in the bank, signing the deed to the house, knowing that I was leaving him. I knew I was going to leave him. I could not stay here anymore. I was so tormented by, gosh, I don't even know what it was. It was just like, it didn't. And I remember having sex with him, crying, and him asking me, did I hurt you? And I'm like, this doesn't feel right to me. And he's like, we're married. This is what we're supposed to do. But for some reason, it felt so alien to me. It's like, this ain't right. Obviously, it is right. But I didn't feel that way back then. And it really got me going down a road I never thought I'd go down to. I found a magazine, and in the magazine was men seeking men, women seeking women. And I knew it was there. Him and I went through a divorce. And I remember picking up that magazine. And I went through all the ads, and I found this one ad that I thought fit me perfect. And it was women seeking women. And I called this person up, and I thought God sent me my angel. I thought, man, this is the most beautiful thing. This feels so right. It feels so tranquil. How can this be wrong? How can this even be slightly wrong? And we barely ever fought. We ended up getting divorced. He found someone else, and I found my 17-year relationship. I was with this woman, and I accepted her love. Something I knew I couldn't do with my husband, but I believed that she loved me. I believe she was for me. I believe she was, God sent her to me. That's what I was thinking. Time goes by, and I remember sitting outside after we had built this home. We had vacations. I had my Harley. I had my truck. I had all the things I had ever wanted, which isn't a lot, but it's. I didn't want a lot. I just wanted peace. I wanted to just feel accepted. And I remember I was outside by myself, looking across our yard, and it was beautiful. We had a water fountain and a pond, and it was just beautiful to look at, and flowers, and I just remember feeling like Is this it, Lord? Is this it? Have I accomplished all the things that I'm supposed to in this world, in this life? And then I felt this emptiness, like something's missing, but I don't know what it is. And at that point, I end up stepping out. And I told her, I need more. Something's not right. And if you give me permission, I think I can find it. And she did. And I will tell you that I, for probably a year of our relationship, was stepping out. You're going to think it's women, but it wasn't. I thought I just needed more sex. I really didn't know what it was. And I didn't want to cheat on her with another woman, so I thought I'm just going to go to men because they don't really mean anything anyway. So here I am, a year later, and I meet this man, and I end up at a swingers club, and I end up leaving the swingers club, and I had something that was attached to me that I didn't even know what it was. I had a whole totally different outlook. It was like I left there not alone. I didn't know what it was. I believe it was a spirit, a demonic spirit, and within 10 days, this thing had me to the point that I wanted to put a gun to my head and take my own life. I remember crying to God, literally with tears in my eyes, screaming at the top of my head, Lord, take this from me. Whatever it is, just take it from me. And I got no relief. Day after day after day, I got no relief. On the 10th day, I went to work, 5 o'clock in the morning. I'm on my motorcycle, and something told me to run the red light. And I came to a screeching halt, yelling, no. And as soon as I did, a car passed me. I know that was intended for me. It was to take me out. I got to work, and I went into the bathroom crying. I came out, and I thought, why would God not hear me? Why is he not listening to me? Why after day, I pour my heart out to him, and I get nothing? And I heard this voice say, Helen, why would God not hear you? And I thought, I'm in sin. So I stood up next to my machine, and I remember just closing my eyes, and I said, Lord, forgive. And I didn't even get the whole word out. I just said, Lord, forget. And I felt an energy from the bottom of my feet to the top of my head in a nanosecond, just leave me like that. And I thought, oh my gosh, I wasn't alone. I had a spirit upon me. It changed my thoughts on life. It changed my thoughts on my journey. It changed my thoughts of everything, because it's like, this is real. No one can ever tell me the spirit world is not alive and well, because I'm telling you, I've experienced things that I never even believed in before. But they're real. They're very real. I ended up going to counseling this whole time, and my counselor told me I needed to write a book. And I was in question, like, why am I writing a book? She said, Helen, it's not for you. It's for other people. And to see where you were to what you are today, I thought, okay, well, I've got journals, I've got poetry, I've got a whole bunch of things when I started writing at 12 years old, and I ended up writing this book, which is my journey from beginning to the end. I leave nothing untold in this book. I literally stand before you naked. That's how I feel. That's how much is in here. You will know more about me than you know about yourself, and I'm not saying that lightly. When this came out in Amazon, and they actually gave me a letter saying, congratulations, your book can be found on Amazon, I started wailing. Why would I start wailing? Because it's that revealing. There's a chapter in this book that God wanted me to write, and I refused. And I told him, I don't care what you do to me. I don't care if you take my life. I am not writing that chapter. And for 6 weeks, every place I turned, or every person I felt like I talked to, he was telling me, rewrite that chapter. And it was a chapter that happened. It was something that happened to me when I was 5 years old. And I remember going to my pastor, and I said, why do we have to tell all? And my pastor said, because somebody needs to hear it, Helen. I went to God still. And I'm like, Lord, why do I got to tell all? Why? And he said to me, Helen, didn't I give you all? I dropped to my knees. And when I tell you, I have put everything in this book. I am not joking. I have put everything in this book. I have chapters in here to tell you why I became gay, how I became gay. I have chapters in telling you how I got out of becoming gay. Is it real? Can it really happen? I don't have same-sex attractions like I did, but I have also given myself 100% to him. I now live with something I never lived with before. And I'm proud to tell you, it's peace. It's real peace. I'm not talking the peace that when I met my girlfriend, everything seemed so right kind of peace. I'm talking the internal peace inside my soul, inside of me, that I have never experienced or never felt in all of my life. I'm 55 years old today. I can tell you that I have the peace that passes all understanding. So cliche. So many people can say it so freely. But do you live it? Do you really know what peace, real peace, the peace that passes all understanding feels like? Because that's what I live with today. I don't have the temptations I used to. I've dealt with my little Helen. I've dealt with my carnal man. And I have nothing but peace and tranquility today. I can tell you, I want for nothing. I want for nothing. There's no materialistic thing. There is no person. I'm single. I've been single for, I think, 6 years now. There is no temptation for masturbation. There is no temptation for any type of sexual communication with anybody. And I'm okay with it. It wasn't an easy journey, but I can tell you it's all in this book. Every single step that I took, there's workbooks in here, things that I had to do to get myself to where I am today. It's not a cakewalk. It's not a rose bush that, it's just all going to be roses now that I found Jesus and I'm living for God. It ain't like that. We all have to deal with our past. I have a son who's 33 years old and does not speak to me. To go back and be honest and tell you, does it hurt? Yes, it hurts. Do I miss him? Of course, I definitely miss him. But I know and I trust in my God that he's got him. No matter what he's doing, no matter what he goes through, my God knows all. So, I really am at peace with knowing that he's got my son at no matter what goes on. And so here I sit, living a life where I feel like I don't have any. I don't really have anything to say negative because I've given everything that I have to my God. And I know beyond a shadow of a doubt, he's going to take care of it all. And with that, it brings me peace.